Texas Open. Matt's coming off a third-place finish at last week's WGC Dell Technologies match play, where he won in the consolation match. Matt, what was the biggest takeaway for you coming out of that week? Did it give you a lot of confidence coming into this week?
Yeah, it was fun for me to play some good golf again. It had been a while for me, Jack. I had, since the break, really been somewhat frustrated, disappointed with my performance, and it's so nice to regain some form and play some good golf. Certainly, I've had some success at Austin Country Club, had some success in the match play event, and I tell people, listen, you can't count on returning to a course. You can't count on returning to a format and think you're going to do well. If you're not playing well, you're going to go 0-3 in that format. It's as simple as that. And thankfully, I got some good work in with my instructor, Chris O'Connell. We've been working hard the past, let's call it 6-8 months, trying to resort things out, and finally it's turned the corner and feels good. So I take a lot of confidence from just the sheer fact of hitting quality shots. Winning matches, there's certainly a lot of luck that's involved. You could run into a guy that just makes more birdies than you, plays better. You could play great and still lose. So hard to necessarily figure out how much confidence to take away from wins versus losses. But hitting quality shots, you kind of know as a golfer when you're properly hitting quality shots or not. And it was nice to hit some quality shots, and match play forces so much pressure on you in so many situations. It feels like every hole somewhat feels like the last hole of a tournament, and it had been a while since I had felt like I'd played some truly meaningful golf. A lot of Thursday, Fridays, and even Saturday, Sundays were 40th place finishes where you're not totally stressed out like you are coming down the back nine Sunday with a chance to win, and match play puts you in that situation kind of almost every match. So every match felt like it was truly meaningful golf, and to be able to execute under those situations was certainly a good feeling.
Coming into this week, this is your 16th appearance at this tournament. Does it feel like that many, and how do you feel about being back at the Valero Texas Open?
Well, it is hard to believe. I run across so many the new young rookies and guys that have been out 3-4 years, and I remember being in their shoes, asking some of the older veterans, how many years have you been out? And they say, 18 or 20, and you go, oh man, that's incredible. And now here I am spitting out answers like that. I'm on the other side. So been here 16 times is certainly a good stretch, good number. I remember back in the days at La Cantera having some good success. I actually remember being back there as a kid playing on sponsor exemptions, trying to earn enough money to get my card. And I think it was at La Cantera where I locked it up several years ago. Had maybe a second place finish to Justin Leonard. And with that, earned enough money to gain a tour card. So it was a lot of great feelings at the Texas Open. Certainly I've come to really enjoy the golf course here at TPC San Antonio. I really enjoy coming playing here. It's a great setup. My kids come. They've got an incredible hotel, water park, secondary golf course as well that the kids sneak out on in the afternoons and get some golf of their own in. So it's a fun week all around, and I actually think it's a wonderful spot just before the Masters. I think there's nice topography out here, nice undulations, nice kind of change of elevation, and you've got to drive the ball well here, and then the approach shots have some characteristics similar to Augusta with the elevation changes, with the runoffs, the collection areas. So I think it's a nice warm up for next week's Masters as well.
All right, with that, we'll open it up for questions media that we have on the line. If you have a question, type your name in. We have quite a few here. We'll start with Doug Ferguson, Associated Press.
Hey, Matt, had a couple of questions looking back and going forward, if you will, but it was so peculiar last week with Scotty on 12 and 13 back-to-back, those water balls of you being away, even though he was 100, 150 yards behind you. Who came up with that? Who recognized that situation where it's all about where the shot was horizontally and not necessarily vertically?
Well, that was semifinal match, so we had a walking official with us. So I believe it was, I can't remember if John was with us in that match or if that was Pete. but
It was Pete.
it was Pete.
Either way.
Yeah. So he's the one that brought it up. I think I was playing the day before. I was playing Jordan Spieth. I remember. No, sorry. I was playing Brian Harmon. Jordan Spieth was group in front of us, and they had a similar situation on 13. Took forever to kind of watch them play 13. We hit a bunch of extra putts on 12, just waiting for them to kind of get through 13. And then when it came to us, I had forgotten that rule. I had been aware of it and the different match play situations I've been in, but it's one that I've never actually. I don't recall having to have that be part of my match situation. I remember being told of it, but so when I got into the situation with Scotty, it was kind of a head scratcher, and I get how it works, but I don't understand it, and I probably don't quite agree with it either. I just can't figure out a situation where it truly makes sense. When a ball is completely unplayable, I don't understand why the away process changes in that situation when somebody has to clearly take a drop somewhere further away. And I don't know. There's so many questions. I don't know what happens to a ball that's out of bounds in that situation. Let's say it's out of bounds in that situation and not just a hazard. Do I have to go up and hit my shot before he hits his third shot if his ball out of bounds was closer than mine? What if we both hit it in the water on 13? How do you determine whose ball was closer and thus who plays their next shot first? If we had both rinsed it, somebody clearly is closer to the hole where their ball lies, and so the order of play, there's so many questions there that kind of are head scratchers. I don't quite follow.
You're making me confused now. I got you.
Yeah. So head scratcher. It's part of the rules. We play. Just how they tell us. Glad to have a rules official there to keep us straight. But something that is certainly a bit confusing.
Yeah. Secondly, this is more about the Masters. For you, does it feel like you were just there 5 months ago, or is there any sense of this feeling more normal because it's part of the kind of the spring schedule, the routine?
I feel like we're back in the routine. It does seem like it again was 5 months ago, so not quite the normal year between, but this kind of has the sense of this is real. This is Masters again, and when it should be. I certainly was awfully glad to play it in the fall when we did. Just any chance to play the Masters tournament whenever they tell us we'll show up. But this feels more like Masters is truly here and going to be much more normal than it was last year.
Thank you.
Steve Maglio, USA Today.
Matt, was there a low point during the stretch before the Valero Texas Open that really got to you, and basically how did you keep moving forward during this long stretch?
There was certainly huge amounts of frustration, definitely some lows, and that's what golf does to you. My wife was such a big supporter, a big help, kind of letting me know I'd been pretty fortunate in my career not to have too many, let's call it slumps. That I'd kind of been able to play some pretty consistent golf for a long stretch of time, where golf, for most people, you hit a lot more highs and lows in this game. It's hard to play well week in and week out. Golf just is able to beat you up more than most other games, and I fortunately didn't have many of those experiences, and kind of expected it to continue on that way, but found myself in one of those slumps or ruts or kind of a stretch of golf that I was very, very unhappy with. But my wife said, listen, you got to stay positive. You've been so consistent. This is a normal thing. If you just stay the course, keep working, it will get better. And so thankfully, between her family, Chris O'Connell, we kept working. And I think it is one of the great things about this game is when you're playing great, you can't wait to keep on playing. You can't wait to continue the good play. When you're playing bad, you wake up and you can't wait to fix it. You can't wait to go out and make it better. And so I certainly had that bug going, well, I know if I sit around, I'm not going to get better. I got to keep trying things out. And maybe that was one of the biggest frustrations was I kind of have a bit of a Rolodex of swing keys that, all right, if I'm hitting these shots as my bad ones, this is how I fix it. And I'd go through my Rolodex and really struggle to fix it. Even with Chris's help, there was times where knew I was going down the right path, yet still my misses were really costly. And for so many years, my misses were, I'd say, playable. I think my dispersion, golf's so much a balance between how good are your good ones and how bad are your bad ones. And if you can make your good ones good and your bad ones just okay, as opposed to being truly bad or truly costly, you got a real chance to play great golf. And thankfully, my bad ones were always somewhat playable. And then for a stretch, my bad ones got bad and really costly, and I was packing up my bags Friday far too often. So glad to have gotten out of that. But yeah, there were some serious frustrations, and I don't know if I've ever hit as many balls. I don't know if my hands have ever hurt so bad that I'd go out the next morning and go, my body's hurting, my hands hurt, but I know I've got to stick to it. The only way of getting out of this is figuring out. And thankfully, the work with Chris has definitely paid off.
Thank you, sir.
You got it, Steve.
Here at Dixon Golf Channel.
Hi, Matt. You've played in this event obviously 16 times. It's been here since 2010, so you have a fair amount of experience at TPC San Antonio. The fifth hole has a new tee box this year. It used to be 340 yards, and now it's going to be playing at about 400 yards. So how does that change your strategy with how you've played it in the past when it could possibly have been a drivable par 4 depending on the conditions?
Yeah, I did not know that. I'll be interested to see how the tour officials set it up. I think the officials have done a great job week in and week out of setting the course up to be different, enjoyable, fair, fun, the whole gamut. And I think always nice when you get options. Sounds like we'll have some options. Sounds like if they push it back, it's no longer will be drivable, at least for the majority of us. So I think guys will be playing it proper to a certain position, certain yardage, trying to take advantage. I imagine they'll still put it up where it will be drivable. When it's back, again, you're looking to put yourself in the best position. That fairway's not the easiest to hit. I've had conditions even in the old style where wind was into you, trying to lay up to a spot is a tricky fairway to hit. So from 400 yards, the fairway is fairly small, but that's kind of what you want in a short par 4. You want a guy that finds the fairway, a chance to make a birdie. A guy that misses the fairway, he's struggling to make par.
Thank you.
All right.
Dylan DeChair, golf.com.
Hey Matt, yeah, you've talked a bunch about working with Chris, and I was just curious what specific changes you guys were working on, or it sounds like maybe it was a few things, but what's been successful?
It's a continuation of trying to eliminate club face rotation through impact. The smaller amount of face rotation, the more consistent you are. What do they call it? Rate of closure. I think it's called ROC, rate of closure. And the smaller that rate of closure is, the higher quality, the more often you're going to hit quality shots. So we work on trying to have as little of that through impact as possible. I feel like I play a little more shut to open, face stays square longer. It was just, I was getting in a place where I was coming in probably from too steep of a position and trying to shallow it out, and in doing so, creating some bailout, creating some more face closure. And so we've worked on dialing that back, and fortunately gotten on some thing where it feels good again, feels consistent again. And it's funny as a professional golfer how rare you hit just the perfect golf shot, but it's coming out of the center of the club face so much more often now than it was the past 3-4 months. It's much more fun, much more enjoyable again.
How technical do you personally get? Like how into the video, the TrackMan numbers, force plates, all that stuff, or do you let Chris look at certain things and then he tells you certain things?
Technical with kind of I'd say more. I like to have a mechanical thought in my head. I think of it as kind of a mental occupier. I think some people try to just focus on exactly the shot that they want to hit and not have any technical thought. I think if I have a technical thought in my head, it keeps me from thinking about don't hit it left, something like that. So I like to have a swing thought, but as far as technical and numbers related, I honestly think I'm a little bit more old school in that you can tell when you hit a ball if it's hit properly. I could kind of tell you exactly what that ball has done as far as spin and launch and all the things without a TrackMan. I could, you could put a TrackMan down and it could confirm it. But I think it's pretty easy to tell when you've played long enough to see what a proper golf shot is and then know what those numbers are going to be. I kind of think that the golf ball is the true thing that doesn't lie. I think you put all of the inputs in with your swing, the ball shows you exactly what inputs you've put in, and to fix it, you kind of work backwards from there. But I don't get overly technical with TrackMan numbers or force plate. We've talked a little bit more about stats, strokes gained, kind of where you need to kind of make up my ground. I clearly know that strokes gained off the tee, I'm probably going to be giving up some shots to the great drivers of the golf ball, and I need to be gaining shots kind of from approach and in. So I think about that a bit. Where my strengths need to be really strong is kind of a approach shot forward, but certainly off the tee, I can't give up too much. I need to be kind of level with strokes gained off the tee and then be gaining from there in.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
Great.
Mark Cannizzaro, New York Post.
Hey, Matt, thanks for doing this. I'm just curious, getting back to what Fergie was asking a little bit more about Augusta. I'm curious what your memories were of that November Masters and how kind of strange that was, and if there's any specific moments that you just recollections of that week that just seemed so different.
I felt like I certainly had a lot more time than normal. I think that's one of those things without the fans, without the kind of all the extras that go along with tournaments, and in the past couple of months we've had a lot of those. I feel like there's a lot more free time, and so I actually had some great catch-ups with some friends of mine that are members there. Was what stood out in my mind. I think normally it's a little bit more business as usual. You go about your work on the course. You get back home with the freedom of kind of space and time. I was able to kind of hang around the club. I saw a lot more of the property than I've ever seen. We had a couple restarts, and I remember driving around. We stopped, I think, on the 5th hole one day and kind of did the outer loop. I didn't even know about this outer ring around the property with all these buildings that I'd never seen before. So I saw some things that I'd never seen before around Augusta National, and had some just fun catch-ups with members that I think everybody tends to be so busy that week that slowing down for an hour here, a half hour there to have some nice catch-ups doesn't normally happen. So that was kind of the unique thing about last year's November Masters for me.
Thanks, man. Have a good week.
Yeah.
And we'll take one more question from Doug Ferguson.
Kuchar to come out of left field on this one, but just doing something on the sixth hole at Augusta, and just wondered if you could speak to the challenges, lack of challenges, whatever you want to call it, about that hole.
Yeah, there's basically two pins that are really, really difficult. The top right shelf and back left. Those two are hard to get a proper birdie putt to. The top right, that shelf is so small, it feels like you've got a kind of 12-foot radius to be able to hit to, and you miss that, and you got your work cut out for you. That back left, very similar. Trying to be aggressive enough to get a ball to stay up in that, again, probably a 10-foot radius. Is very, very risky. You kind of just take your medicine there, hit it 20 feet short of the hole, watch it roll back to 30 or 40 feet short of the hole, and understand that you'd love to just walk away with 3. When they give you a pin kind of on the front left side of the green, you feel like that's one you hope to have something inside of 15 feet for birdie and maybe take advantage then. But standing up there with a 5, 6, 7 iron, it is a difficult, demanding shot where most of the time, middle of that green is typically for most of the pins leaving you with a challenging 40-foot putt. So you do your best to just 2-putt and get out of there with a 3.
Yeah, Jordan said he felt like that front pin, you felt like you were giving something away if you didn't make 2, and the back pin, you felt like you were taking one away if you made 3.
I'm not sure it's quite to that strokes gained amount, but you certainly love making 3s. I mean, maybe you gain a quarter of a shot when you make 3 to either those back pins, and then the front pins you may gain a half shot with a birdie. So it's probably not even that much. But it's shoot, I'd take 4 3s there every week.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
All right, Matt, those are all the questions we have. We appreciate your time and best of luck this week.
Jack, thanks so much. Take care.